FBN Capital, the investment banking and asset management business of Nigeria's first bank, is currently hosting an investor conference in Lagos. Wole Famurewa caught up with Mohammed Santuraki, CEO of the Bank of Agriculture, to ask him how the bank fits into the structure of government and their priorities.
Bank of Agriculture is the agricultural development finance institution that is government-sponsored. We are 40% owned by Central Bank of Nigeria and 60% owned by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. We have three clear mandates. We have a mandate to provide credit to the agricultural sector, and we also have a mandate to do rural savings mobilization. The third mandate, which is also very important, is to provide non-credit services to our customers in terms of research findings, extension work, and technical assistance. So basically, that's who we are. The way we are structured is that our focus, 70% of our focus is actually on the smallholders farmers, and as you know, in Nigeria, 90% of the agricultural production is from that sector. So we're trying to invite a strategic partner, and also to split our business into two windows. We'll have a retail window and a wholesale window, which we'll use to leverage our presence in the agricultural sector. That is ongoing now, and once that is concluded, I believe that BOA, the parent company, will take over the most of the intervention funding that CBN is doing right now.
Let's talk about how much is required, because obviously there's a broad agric development strategy going on in Nigeria right now. How much exactly are we talking about in terms of financing this development?
Okay, like I mentioned during the session, the share of agriculture in the total outstanding bank loans is very small, 2%. And if you look at the whole domain of farming, we have about 14.5 million smallholder farmers. To service that segment alone, we believe that we need at least 2 trillion naira. And that is not very difficult if you actually use the financial system. Like I mentioned, the era is gone where government will be the one to provide credit, because it's not sustainable. It's been shown that it's not sustainable. So what you need to do is to incentivize the private sector, and that in this case, that is the financial system, to fund the agri sector. Now, and the banking sector in Nigeria has done relatively well. Today we have assets in excess of 20 trillion naira. So you can imagine that even if we can get 5% of that to fund agriculture, that would have gone a long way. So we believe that the total requirement of the sector will be in the region of 3 billion if you add 3 trillion if you add another trillion for the large-scale farmers.
And let's talk a bit about those large-scale farmers and compare the strategy that it takes to reach them compared to with the strategy to reach the small-scale farmers. We know, for instance, that 70% of the population is into small-scale farming. Commercial farming is virtually non-existent in Nigeria right now. The strategy obviously is different for both parts of the broader agri sector. How do we cater for both? And in terms of tackling the strategy going forward now, where do we focus on?
Well, you see, let me correct one impression that is often created. You know, smallholder farmers can also be commercial. They can be commercialized once you have the right set of inputs. They use improved seeds. You increase the tractorization rates, fertilizer application rates, and so on. So, I mean, if you look at some of the countries that have achieved agricultural revolution, look at Thailand, for example. The bulk of the food that comes from Thailand is produced by smallholder farmers. So being a smallholder farmer doesn't mean that you cannot be commercial. What we need is to give farmers, even the small farmers, the agricultural inputs, teach them the modern agronomy issues and so on, and then build infrastructures for them so that they improve their link to the market and have a body that will coordinate the marketing and research and so on. So yes, like I noted also in Nigeria, our experience with large-scale farming has not been very pleasant, because it hasn't really worked. It is the small-scale farmers that produce the bulk of our agricultural output.
So are you saying that should be the focus short term?
Yeah, for me, I think at least short to medium term, that should be the focus. What we should do is to commercialize make the smallholder farmers more productive. And it will be a natural evolution. By the time you have smallholder farmers producing at optimum rates, they will gradually migrate to becoming medium and large-scale farmers. But because the infrastructures that you need for large-scale farming, unfortunately, are still not there. And we have to roll out these infrastructures before real large-scale farming can be actually profitable.